was the participants keep interacting with us.
So I am starting. Okay. So good morning to all of you. Hope that there are 12 learners, but only 3 have joined. But anyway, we have to start with the session. And let you introduce yourself, because I am Dr. Elizabeth Kurvula from School of Education. I am taking the topic from MES 006, Managing Teaching Learning, Block 3. So before going to the detail of Block 3, let me have an introduction, because just 3 students I can see have joined. So let me start with the introduction. Okay, who will start? You on your mic and video and then introduce yourself. Muniba, can you introduce? Muniba? Are you there? Muniba Sufian? Or Kawuki Peter?
Good afternoon, ma.
Yeah, good afternoon. Can you switch on your video?
Ma, I'm Muniba Sufian, a physics teacher from Nigeria.
Okay. Which class you are teaching?
SS1 to 3.
Okay. Whether it is high school or higher secondary, something like that, school level? Grade,
High
which
secondary.
grade? Pardon?
High secondary.
Higher secondary. Good. Okay, Muniba. Kavuki, can you introduce yourself? Kavuki? Kavuki? Are you there?
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I am fine. How are you?
I'm good too.
Okay. Which you are a head teacher or a teacher?
No, I'm a teacher.
Teacher. Which grade you are teaching? High school or higher secondary?
High school.
High school. Okay. What about your friends? There are 12 learners, only 2 have joined, and we are taking lot of efforts.
I think others they are caught up.
Okay. So you people don't have
They must be
interaction. Okay. So whether there is any connectivity issue in your country to join this Google Meet, whether there is any connectivity issue? Yes or no? No, nothing. Okay, then let me. Fitjens has joined and then he left. Fitjen. When I tell to introduce, he left. So anyway, we are starting with the session. You know that this program is primarily meant for these teachers and head teachers. So what is important in this program is that how this block, I am dealing with the block 3, and let I have some of the reflections on the previous academic counseling. Any of you, both of you can speak about the reflections on the previous academic counseling. Muniba and Kavuki, can you tell something? The previous academic counseling sessions, how do you feel?
No, our last interactive section was on conflicts.
Okay. Whether it is good means there is conflicts. What type of conflicts?
Mama. Mama. Personal and interpersonal conflicts and how it should be resolved within the school settlements.
Okay, that means the topic what they have taken. Okay. And
yes.
how do you feel about the academic counseling?
You said?
Yeah. Okay. Kawiki, what is your observation? Because we can interact with each other. Otherwise, it is very monotonous. So you can share your ideas and I will share also. Kawiki, how do you feel about the academic counseling? Are you there, Kawiki, Peter? Okay.
A minute.
Can you hear me? Kauki, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Just a minute.
How do you feel about the academic counseling previous? Whether you have expected something, are you able to meet the expectations like that?
Yes, we were able to meet all the expectation. It
Expectations. Okay.
was a nice,
Come on.
attractive section.
Okay. So now we will start with the session. I am starting the session with I will show you this one. Okay. So we will start with the session that there are lot of resources in a school. So what type of resources we have to use and how we are able, as a head teacher or teacher, how we will manage to use the resources. So this thing we are going to discuss. So here, can you see the slide now? Can you see
it is visible.
Visible. Okay. So this identification
yes,
and okay, identification and selection of appropriate resources. I am presenting before you two situational analysis. Two situations I am presenting. Okay. Muniba, can you read the first situation? Muniba? First situation. From the PPT, you can read the first situation. Muniba?
Situation 1. A secondary school teacher who has never taught primary before is being asked to do so because of institutional policy. You have been asked to train them as a head teacher. How will you help her?
Okay. Then here the teacher is facing some kind of problem. As a head teacher, suppose both of you are the head teacher of a school. Now you are teachers, but you imagine that for the present situation, you are the head teacher. How would you help this novice teacher to meet her demand? Could you say something? Peter, could you say something? Peter? Or Muniba, can you tell something? How would you help in this situation?
My network is disturbing, I think I have to, let me change, let me use the phone.
Okay. The sound is not clear.
My network is disturbing.
Okay. So, Muniba, can you tell how would you help this head teacher, this English teacher? Muniba?
Hello, ma.
How would you resolve the issue? What is the issue here? This situation one.
The situation there is that she is a primary school teacher. She has not been to a secondary school level. And she is being asked to teach English at the level.
Okay. Very good.
So
very good.
The head teacher or the principal can help her do that by organizing a training.
Okay.
A small training within the teachers in the school so that other teachers can teach in her presence. So that she will learn from what they do.
Okay. Very good.
And also she can attend. And the head teacher can ask her to attend other classes at the secondary school level to sit with the teacher that is been teaching in the class so that she will see and be familiar with the method of teaching in a higher level.
Okay, very good answer. I am giving a good applause to you that you have stated very good answer that how, as a head teacher, some kind of resources, whether the English teacher is a resource, the English teacher here is a great resource. But what is happening is that how, as a head teacher, we are able to manage the human resources, different types of resources. So, a very good answer I got from Muniba, though the number of learners are very, very few. But what I want, I am getting from Muniba and Kauki Peter, you also have to try to express your opinion. So, here we can see that a secondary English teacher, she knows that how to teach at the secondary level. What is the characteristics of a primary school? We can see that we have to understand that how to deal with the learners. And a very good suggestion was given by Muniba that she could observe the classes taken by the secondary school teacher so that she can learn how to teach in that particular class. And situation 2, I will read this one. Suppose you are appointed in textbook selection committee for the next academic year. What type of textbook will you select? Besides textbook, what are the other resources you will provide? This is the second situation. And among both of you, who will answer the solution for this situation? Either Kauki or Muniba can answer. Only one student, so that I am asking majority of the answers I may be getting from Muniba only. Kauki, can you give some solution for this situation? Or Muniba, can you give some solution for this situation?
Yes, ma.
Yeah, can you give some solution?
I'm thinking.
Ah.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You have to choose textbooks which are related.
Okay.
To the course units or the subjects.
Okay. So how do you
The
select
skills,
textbook in your school? How do you select textbook in your school?
One, you have to it depends on the you have to depend. It has to start with the age.
Okay.
You have to look at the age.
Yeah.
Then you also have to look at the culture.
Yeah.
Not only that, you have to look at the environment.
Environment. Okay.
Mm.
So in your school, what I am getting the answer is that a very good answer Kauki has stated that the culture, it is very important. The cultural representation, whether the textbook is reflecting the cultural representation. That is an important thing when we look at the selection of the textbook. So here we can see that if you are in a textbook committee, in Indian context, what we are doing, we will go to the curriculum, whether the content given is matching with the needs of the learners and what is the background of the culture. So now you can mute. Okay. So here, what is the background? What is the environment? What is the climate? So all these things we are taken into consideration. Now I have given some of the concepts or words that handbooks, science kits, electricity, learners, water supply, grants, textbooks, endowments, teachers, staffs. What are the above items? What are these items? Can you tell what are these items? Handbooks, science kits, electricity, learners. What are these items? Who can tell? What are these items? Muniba, can you give the answer? What are these items? Handbook, science kits, electricity, learners, water supplies. Muniba?
Mama.
Mama. What are these items? Handbook, science kits, electricity, learners. Eh? Are you there, Muniba?
Are the all these are the basic things we need in the smooth running of a school setting.
School setup. Okay. The basic things we may call it as resources. Understand? So all these items are resources. How can we classify resources? How can you classify them? What are the different types of resources in your school? Who can say? Kauki or Munipa? Only 2 learners, it is very bad. Other learners are not
you,
good. Yeah.
you can look at
what are the resources?
the manpower. One, we have the manpower.
Yeah, very good answer. Manpower. Okay. Other resources?
We have the finance.
Yeah.
Finance.
Okay. Yeah, very good answer you have given. Okay, Kauki, that human resources, financial resources, material resources. Now you can see what are the different types of resources, the teaching learning resources that we use in a school. Physical resources, human resources, material resources, and financial resources. So these are the 4 types of resources that we use in a school. So I have told you that the teacher is the major resource, human resource. So for a teacher as a major human resource, what actions we have to take? So here, the action, first thing what we have to take is estimate the required teaching staff ahead. We have to estimate how much teaching staff are required. Ahead means before the beginning of the session of a new academic year. As a head teacher, you have to estimate the number of the teaching staff. Then you have to identify the shortage of teachers. You know that in Indian context, in some of the interior schools, there the teacher pupil ratio is not correct. For a one teacher has to handle 2-3 classes in the interior places. But in the rural and urban setup, we can see that there is good proportion between the teacher and the student. So what is needed is that identify the shortage of teachers, and the next one, resolving the issue. There may be lot of issues between the many things, not only the number of teachers, the classroom, the timetable, how to provide. So all these issues should be resolved earlier, and then evolving alternative strategy. So if there is no particular or enough manpower, what alternative strategy can be done? For a time being, can we appoint another staff? So these type of issues, the strategy we can take. And the next one, developing a reasonably good timetable with proper assignment of task. So we have to develop a good timetable where the learner should not sit lethargically, they have to engage. And the next one, evolving a periodic progress review mechanism with the involvement of teachers. How the teachers can be involved and how they are improving. You know that in Indian setup, the private schools, their review system is going on for the teachers. It may be at a half yearly or yearly, this review mechanism is going on. And the next one, maintaining a proper organizational climate. That is an important thing. A proper organizational climate we have to maintain. And the next human resource, that is the supporting staff. As with the teachers, we know that without their cooperation, no institution can run effectively. So supporting staff is needed. Estimation of staff strength as per norms. We know that for each school or each country, there is a norm for the strength of the ratio of the staffs, the teachers, the learners. So for everything, there is a ratio. So estimation of staff strength is very much important. And next one, making up for the shortfall with the help of authorities. Means if there is any shortage, so that some kind of measurement has to be taken. Next one, assigning tasks as per the job specification and competence. And the next thing, that is ensuring regularity and punctuality. We have to ensure the regularity and punctuality of the supporting staff. And the next one, evolving the monitoring mechanism. We have to monitor how they are going. And the next part, administering through proper use of rewards and punishment theory. So if there is some kind of positive action on the part of the supporting staff, we have to give the rewards. If there is a mistake, we should convince them. It's not a negative punishment. It is like the reinforcement not to repeat such type of activity or anything. And the next one, the important resource, they are the learners. So pupils we call, and then we may call them as learners. So what is important here is observance of rules and regulations. What are the rules and regulations? From the time of admission, and then inside the classroom, the attendance, and then for getting leave, what type of rules and regulations are followed? Let I know some of the class rules in your school. Muniba or Kawuki, can you tell some of the class rules what you are following in your classroom? For the learners to take leave or something, what are the rules?
One,
Are you
in
there,
case you are
Muniba?
moving out of the school, you need
Kawuki?
the
Yeah,
leave
come on.
sheet. In case you are moving out of the school,
Yeah.
do is a leave sheet.
Yeah.
Then school uniform.
Okay. So they have to submit the leave letter. They have to submit the yeah. Okay. So they have to submit the leave letter. So we are doing like this, the observance of rules and regulations. Next thing, allocation of classes judiciously. We have to allocate the classes that no learner should kept lethargically. It doesn't mean that free time should be given. Free time we will give the change of the activities and playgrounds they will go, and there should be provision for freedom to express. That is also important. And the next one, due care to the needs and requirements of learners is very much important, and ensure participation of all learners in every activity. We know that the learners' engagement is very much important. In Indian context, we are following the National Curriculum Framework 2005, that it stated that ensure the participation of all learners, then provide opportunities for creative expression. We know that in classroom, whose voice is more, the teacher's voice is more. So we have to allow the voice of the learners for their creative expression. And the next one, there should no favoritism in the classroom, and all the learners should be treated as equal in front of all. All learners should be equal. Respect the dignity of each child. That what Kauke has stated, that when we take a textbook, we are looking at the culture. For your setup, what we are thinking, that the ethnicity, so the racial issue might be coming. So how we are respecting all children belonging to different races, or how the dignity of each child we are taking into consideration. Next come the financial resources. You know that for an efficient functioning of a school, we know that the financial resources are very much essential. Then who can read these points? Any of you can read these points? There are 4 points. Who will read? Okay. Either Muniba, are you there, Muniba?
Yes, ma.
Yeah. Can you read these points? 4 points. Proper and can you read? Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
Proper and timely submission of the proper and timely submission of the budget estimates.
Okay.
Proper maintenance of financial records.
Okay.
Maintaining transparency in financial matters.
Yes.
Monitoring of accounts regularly.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Kauki has participated nicely. I thought Muniba in class. Are you in class, Muniba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are in class, in the midst you are attending. So your class time is started. It is morning or afternoon now? There it is morning only. What is the time?
Morning from 8 to 1.
Okay, so the classes has started.
Yeah.
Okay, so whether you prefer this changing of the timing of the academic counseling?
No, it's okay.
Okay, only. Okay. But we need only 2 students have entered. The teacher should get motivation to take class while seeing the attendance of the learners. our motivation, we are getting demotivated. And then if there is no response, we will get more demotivated. That's why I'm asking the names. Okay, don't feel bad that it's an interactive session only. Next, in this situation, what is the role of the head in the material resources? We have seen the financial resources, then the material resources also. The financial resources, what we can see that the preparation of the budget is important, and timely submission of budget is also important. And the next one, the maintenance of financial records. And in Indian context, I will tell the different types of financial records. Account books is there, logbook is there, then there's a remittance book is there, the logbook and the cash book is there. So these different types of the registries will be there. So all these records are kept in a school. So it should be maintained in a proper way. We cannot throw it away, because every years we need the auditing and everything, so that we will keep all these records. And the next one, maintaining transparency in financial matters. So whatever, even if it is a single rupee, there should be transparency. The auditing should be accurate. Otherwise, what is thing is that we can see generally many types of tricky things is happening in this financial accounting. So there should be transparency in financial matters. Then monitoring of accounts regularly. That is also an important phenomenon. And the next one, the material resources. We can see that the material resources, not only the physical resources, besides that, there are different types of teaching learning resources. When we look at the material resources, the science kits, the handbook, the teacher's manual. So all these things are important, and how as a head teacher we have to manage. So this block is primarily, the block is titled as Management of Teaching Learning Resources, and this block consists of 4 units, and we are discussing the first 2 units in the session, and the coming I have 2 more academic counseling. That time I will discuss the other unit and then the rest of the unit. So mainly, what is the intention of this block is that generally as teachers or head teachers, we may think that it's not our responsibility to manage the records. No, we have that type of skill also, managing skills, not only managing the human resources, the learners, the staffs or the parents. We have the responsibility to manage the records, and then the time, how we are ensuring all these things are important. So here, the role of the head in the material resources, first one, planning to arrange and procure the material resources from various sources. So what is important is that there are different sources that we can ensure the procuring of the material. Sometimes there may be budget shortage. In spite of the budget shortage, how we can procure the resources. And now you know that with the introduction of ICT, if we are not able to print everything, we can procure the resources, or we will get the resources, the open source resources for the teaching learning process, or otherwise the digital resources we can use, the internet sources we can use. And the next one, ensuring proper use of material resources, checking wastage or misuse. So the material resources, we can use it in a controlled way and in a good manner. Instead of wasting or misusing the resources, we can use it in a proper way. And the next one, organizing in-service training of teachers in use of such materials. That Muniba in the beginning part, she told that what is needed for that secondary school teacher. She can be given training, how to teach in the primary school. So the organization of in-service training in a school is an important thing, and develop locally specific low-cost and no-cost teaching aids. Teaching aids doesn't mean that it should incur any amount or it should be expensive. It is not needed like that. What is important is that we can use or we can prepare low-cost teaching aids. From the waste materials, we can develop the low-cost teaching aids. May I know what type of teaching aids in your schools you are utilizing? Are you purchasing all the teaching aids or you are developing from the waste materials? What about in your school? Any of you? Only 2 students, so any of you can answer. What type of teaching learning aids you are using? Peter or Muniba, what type of teaching aids you are using? Are you using teaching aids in your classroom? Yes or no? Okay.
Of course,
So I thought,
yeah, we are using it.
yeah. Okay. Some more students have joined. Ola has joined. Suleiman has joined. Okay. So, Kauki, what type of teaching aids, sir? Suleiman, can you say what type of teaching aids are you using in your school? Suleiman Ibrahim, can you tell what type of teaching aids? Suleiman? Ola Abdul, are you there? Ola Abdul? Or you can introduce, because 2 of you didn't introduce in the class. Can you introduce Ola Abdul? Suleiman? Can you introduce? Oh, when I ask for introducing, you are leaving the meeting. Don't do like that. Be in the meeting. And what type of teaching aids are you using? Kabuki, can you tell what type of teaching aids?
One,
Yeah.
the Manila.
Yeah. Whether you are purchasing or you are preparing on your own?
I do prepare on my own.
Okay. With waste materials or some other expensive materials?
Of course, we improvise with the cheap ones.
Okay. Improvised with the existing ones. Okay. Very good answer.
Yeah.
Improvised teaching aids. A very good answer. Kauki has stated. I thought Muniba also had something to share. Means Muniba, you can share. Muniba, something you want to tell, that you can share that one also. Eh?
We
Okay.
have some that are audios,
Yeah. Okay.
and we
Then
also have audio visuals.
okay.
We have chats.
Okay. Good. Okay. So now,
And
yeah. Come on.
Can I
and
add?
there are also
Yeah. Who is telling? Can I have come on.
Okay, we have videos.
Yeah.
We have chat, just as she says. We
Ah,
have display
yeah.
screen also that we're able to display, and then we have some other apparatus like materials that we can use to display
Okay. Good. Good.
on
Good
the
answer.
screen again.
Ah. Okay. I thought Ola has responded. What's your name? What's your name?
Abdul, Abdul
Abdul.
Ola.
Abdul Ola. Okay, Abdul
Abdul.
Ola, thank you. So that 3 students we got. Next time you invite the other students also to enter for this academic counseling. Otherwise, for one
Okay.
student, we are taking lot of efforts. Okay. So what you have stated, Muniba, Ola, Kawuki, everybody has stated that because of these digital resources, we are using many types of these material resources. So some kind of training can be given for the higher aided type of the teaching aids. And another one, the role of the head is maintaining the materials properly and keeping proper records of their use. So the proper maintenance of the materials is an essential thing, and whatever materials is available, if it is a small material also, keep a record of it. Why? Because all the materials in the schools should be kept and should be recorded. And the next, the infrastructure. There should be proper building, classrooms with ventilation, the light, the shade, the air, everything is important in regarding the infrastructure. So whether there is provision for safe drinking water, the toilet facilities, especially for girls. For the Indian situation, in the beginning, we can see that in the interior part, the government schools, they don't have the appropriate toilet facilities. So what is happening? There is reduction in the enrollment of girls. Why? Because this is one of the reason, lack of toilet. So the government has now provided free toilet construction in all the schools so that the enrollment number is increasing. So when we think of why the learners are dropping out, now I am thinking from academic counseling, why among the 12 learners, only 3, 4 are alone attending? Why others are dropping out? I don't know. I have to find the reason. So otherwise you can tell what is the reason for this dropping out. So we can see that the infrastructure, it's an important part for everything. And another one, what is the important thing is that the identification of appropriate resources. Always we have to identify the appropriate resources. And for this step, what is needed is the need assessment is very much needed. So here, the need assessment. And before going to the need assessment, we can see that the material resources we have seen, the financial resources we have seen, what is to be done. And this appropriate resources, there are 3 steps we have to take into consideration. Number 1, need assessment. Number 2, needs and resource matching. Number 3, evolving suitable strategy. So these are the 3 steps that is needed in the identification of appropriate resources. What do you mean by this need assessment? So the first and the foremost thing in the identification of appropriate resource is the need assessment. So there things we can see that the need assessment, it means assessing the requirement of resources. We have to always assess whether a particular resource is needed or not for just labeling, or not for just keeping the resources in the lab or in the particular social science room or in the computer room. The whatever resources we purchase, we have to utilize it. So that is the important thing, utilizing previous experiences about managing the resources. Sometimes you might have managed in your small social science lab or some science lab, you have some kind of experiences. So these previous experiences you can utilize. Another one, I like purchasing of the resources, the utilization of each resources is very much important. Not for the namesake we have to purchase. And then for whatever purchase, we have to keep the records. And the next one, involve experienced staff in need assessment process. So how to maintain or how to procure, what are the rules and regulations. We cannot purchase as if we like. There is a budget for that. So how much we can spend for that. In order to understand all these things, experienced staffs are needed. And then we can share the suggestions how to make it good and proper. And then involve teachers during the purchase of all the resources at all the stages. So this is an important thing. So here we can see that the need assessment, after the need assessment, what is the next step? That is needs and resource matching. So here what we are going to do is that the some kind of considerations we have to keep in mind for this need and resource matching, like the potential of existing faculty to be put to optimal use. How we will put the existing faculty in optimal use. Then multiple uses of existing material may be thought of. How we can use the material in different ways. Then the faculty may be encouraged to develop low cost or no cost teaching aids. We have discussed that one, that Ola and Peter has given a good answer, that improvised aids. We are using the improvised aids, which is very much useful. At the same time, the low cost and no cost teaching aids also we can develop. and use of audio video material may be maximized. We know that because of this ICT revolution we are using, and now this class itself is an example for this audio video or the digital resources, how we are utilizing. At a far distance we are able to meet together, we are able to share together, we are able to express our ideas, we are able to share the difficulties what we are facing. That in-service training of teachers can be organized and opportunities for sharing of experience be provided to teachers, so that the in-service training, generally we may think that after getting a job, the rest of the time we can take rest. No, we are going to learn new things. So there is a saying that we have to learn something, we have to unlearn, and something we have to relearn. So for relearning we are attending such type of programs. And for yourself also, why did you join for this program? That is, you are getting scholarship from the ministry and from the government, and then you are joining for this program to update your knowledge, to update your skills, to update your competencies. So this is also an important thing. And the next one, evolving suitable strategy. What is included in this evolving suitable strategy? The main thing is keep an eye on the system, the school system. Observe things as they happen and learn what makes good and what makes wrong. And the next one, identify committed teachers and share your vision with them. We are going to share the vision. Plan things 2-3 months ahead of the commencement of the session. Discuss things in a detailed way and then take the decisions. Identify the source of getting the resources and tackle them effectively. Put your plans on paper and execute them systematically. Then always develop alternative plans to substitute the original ones. Lay stress on quality rather than on quantity. So now what is important is that if we take the result also, what is important? We want to show the quantity, not the quality. But on the reverse side, we have to give importance for the qualitative aspects. Then we have discussed the need assessment and then the selection of appropriate resources. Our topic is identification and selection of appropriate resources. And we know that for the identification, what are the criteria is needed, we have discussed. And now for the selection of the appropriate resources, what criteria is important as when we deal with human resources. So as a criteria, there are three criteria which are important. Competence is important, commitment is important, and professional skills. These three criteria are important when we deal with the human resources: competence, commitment, and professional skills. So we know that competent teachers are needed. Nowadays, the teachers has to do the multiple roles. So the competence teachers are needed. Not only competence is alone. Some may have competence, but they don't have the commitment to serve or to do the task. For example, all of you got the scholarship. 12 students got the scholarship. Only 3-4 are joining for the academic session. So I will tell that you 3-4 people are having only the commitment. 3-4 learners are having the commitment that you have to continue this program in a systematic way, because we are giving the academic counseling in a systematic way. So hence you inform the other learners to enter the academic counseling and show the commitment towards us, because a lot of money your ministry is spending international learners. So kindly utilize it in a proper way. And next one, we can see that the professional skills we have to improve. That is an important things that we have to improve the professional skills yearly. And we know that according to the context and after the COVID period, we know that how much we have improved the ICT skills. This is also an essential thing nowadays. Then regarding the material resources, what criteria we have to follow? The material resources, when we look at the material resources, the number one criteria, that is relevance. It's an important thing. Whenever we select any resource, it should be relevant for the teaching learning purpose or some other, the practical purpose, anything when we take, we know that this relevance is an important thing. Then remediation and enrichment is an important thing. So that resources should be used for this enrichment purposes and for the remediation of the learner's progress. Then accessibility should be there. Suppose you purchase a resource, it may not, they may not be having any accessibility, or you don't know how to operate, then what is the use of purchasing such type of resources? Then quality, it is also an important thing. Quality is an important thing. Then affordability, how do you afford these all things? So all these criteria are important while you deal with the material resources. Then comes the thing that strategy for regular supply of materials. What strategy you will use for the regular supply of materials? In that strategy, we will discuss four things, that is purposefulness, clarity, promptness, and quality consciousness. So, for this strategy, you know that the purposefulness, the whole purpose of identification and selection of appropriate teaching learning material, it should focus on purposefulness. So, what purpose we are purchasing that particular resources, or what is the purpose of displaying that resources in the classroom? Then clarity should be there, that sufficient level of clarity, why we are purchasing, or why we are displacing, or why we are utilizing these resources. Then promptness, the decision making process should be participatory and prompt. Suppose a science lab need some kind of chemicals for doing a particular experiment for a particular academic year. You are telling that next year only you will purchase. That is not maybe useful for the present academic year students. So what is important is that the promptness in taking decisions for purchasing some kind of materials, that is an important thing. And the quality consciousness, we know that now there is commission in everything. So generally some mediator may be there, they may be look for the commission, they may not look for the quality. So what we have to give, we have to give importance for the quality purpose. So this is all about the identification and the selection of the resources. So we can see that these are the main thing when we look at the selection of the resources. And can you tell some of the rules in your schools, what you are following for the purchasing of resources, for the selection of resources? Any of you? Can you tell what are the rules that you are following in your school? Yeah.
I don't get the question.
The
For
rules
what?
for the purchasing of resources, for the procurement of resources.
Okay.
Yeah. What are the
we
rules?
For example, if we want to get materials for the science department,
Yeah. Come on.
we call on the science teachers,
Yeah.
the HODs, and the teachers under the HODs.
Yeah.
And then each of the teachers, maybe chemistry, physics, biology,
Yeah.
they give us the list of the required materials, the resources they're going to need, and then
Okay.
they go and source to find out the prices
Yeah.
to get the best. We request for the best in terms of quality.
Yeah.
Then they come with the prices, and
Yeah.
then they are given the money to get them. When they brought the
Yeah.
materials, then we check everything to confirm if they're actually what is needed.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things we do.
Yeah.
Also, another way is to call to find out. The school will find out if there are suppliers
Yeah.
around, get their contacts, tell them what we need, and then they make the supplies. Then we'll call the science teacher or the department that is in need of those materials to come and verify and confirm if the materials or the resources are quality enough for
Yes.
us to use.
Okay. Very good answer. Ola Abdul has given very good answer. So here we can see that the identification and selection of resources is an important thing. What is happening in many of the science lab is that many of the chemicals are exhausted and there is no action taken to purchase the rest of the resources. So this is happening in many of the situations. So as a head, what is the purpose of this program? We are training you to become the head of the school. So in prospective head teachers, we are considering each one of you as a prospective head teacher. So it includes the initiation process. So you may think that this is a headache thing, so why I should take the action? No, we have to take the initiation process, the execution of the plans, and the follow-up we have to make. So all these things are important in a school. And now we have studied how to identify and select particular resources. The next thing what we are going to learn is the procurement, how we purchase the resources. So let me go to that procurement and management of teaching learning resources. Hope that the slides are visible. Is it visible, PPT? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So here, procurement and management of teaching learning resources is an important thing. Teaching learning resources in school. What are the teaching learning resources in school? In the previous class itself, we have learned that the resources can be categorized into different classifications. What are they? What are the different classification of resources? Any of you? How we can classify? Peter, can you tell? How can we classify the resources?
Financial resource, financial,
Yeah, resources.
physical.
Yeah,
Okay.
come on.
Um,
Manpower you told first, then I framed it as human resources. What are the other resources? Yeah, come on. Then anyone? What are the different types of resources in an institution? Besides human resources, there are other resources in a school. In one resource, we are utilizing the class. We are conducting the class through one resource only. What is this resource? Who can say? Muniba? Kuaku?
I can't remember the fourth one. I know financial, physical, manpower.
Yeah, financial
Those three.
resources. Then,
Physical.
yeah. Then time resource is
Manpower.
also there. Then human resource is there. Material
Yes,
resources.
human
These are
resources.
the different things. So, okay. I need one of you to read this case. Any one of you? Abdul?
Okay.
Come on.
Yes. Ma'am.
Come on.
Okay. One.
Case one.
Suppose a country does
Ah.
not have an adoption policy for digital instructional materials and does not procure resources for schools or districts on a statewide level. Each school district has the constitutional authority from state and or local resources to procure and use digital resources and innovative educational technologies as they deem appropriate to meet educational goals and requirements. School boards have the statutory authority to determine curricular and instructional materials for their schools and school cooperation at the local level. What is the problem in this case?
Yeah. So you have gone through a particular situation, a case of a school that they don't have an adoption policy for digital instructional materials. So the exact problem is that, who can say what is the exact problem of this school? They don't have any policy on the procurement policy. That is the main thing. The adoption policy for digital resources they are not having, or the procurement policy they are not having, what to purchase, how to use. So we can see that there are different types of problems when we look into a school regarding the utilization of resources. So nowadays we have some policy for the digital instructional materials. So what policy we have to use? We know that there are open educational resources, OER, that we can use in educational setup. But what type of the policies that each institution has made? And another one, we can see that there is no quantum purchasing of the resources, where a district level or a state level the resources are purchased, then it is sharing with the district level schools. So such type of things is not happening in this case. So what is important we can see is that each school district has the constitutional authority and from state or local resources to procure and use digital resources and innovative educational technologies. As we can see that in order to meet the educational goals and requirements, some policy we need. So the major problem is that the lack of the policy framing that is happening in this case, that the policy for the adoption policy for digital instructional materials is lacking. So here we can see that the effectiveness in procuring materials, that is an important thing, that effectiveness should be there in procurement of materials. So what is important in that? There are different factors that decide the effectiveness in procuring materials. The first one, innovativeness. Next, after sales service. Then, total quality assurance. Then, timely procurement. Then, cost effectiveness. These are some of the factors that decide the effectiveness in procuring of materials. What is this innovativeness means? So whatever we purchase, it should not be the outdated technology. So some innovativeness should be there, whether it is the material which can be utilized in the present classroom situation. For example, I will say that in my time when I am studying in my college and school level, we college level, especially PED level, we use epidiascope we are using, and the slide projector we are using. So instead of this ICT improvement, instead of that slide projector, now we are using the LCD projector for the teaching purposes. So instead of this slide projector, we use the LCD, and then the improvised things. So the innovative things, what is happening. And now we can see that with this Meet, we can Google Meet, we can interact with each other at far distance also. And the next one, the after sale service. Certain items may be on warranty and guarantee. There should be proper arrangements for after sales service. That is an important thing. And the next one, the total quality assurance. So whatever we purchase, we have to ensure the total quality of the items. And then the timely procurement is needed. Suppose I have given one example that for the conducting of experiment in a science lab, if the acid or the chemicals is purchasing after 1 year, the previous academic session students miss the chance to do the experiment. So the timely procurement is an important thing. And the next, the cost effectiveness. We cannot purchase the high cost things in a school. We have some budget. So what is needed is that first we have to look at the budget and we have to provide the provisions what to be purchased. So cost effectiveness is an important thing. So then comes the procurement process. The procurement process needs to be transparent and efficient. For this purpose, we have to follow 2 steps. What are they? Planning is needed. Conducting the procurement process is needed. So when we think of this planning process, so I have told that this procurement process, it consists of 2 steps, that is planning, conducting the procurement process. So here we will come to the planning phase. what is coming in this stage? In this stage of assessing the requirements, the first thing what is coming is need assessment, then situational analysis, then procurement chart is needed. So what is there in the need assessment? The first and foremost thing would be the assessment of needs in various areas. It should be undertaken by constituting a committee comprising experienced teachers. So first we have to find out what is the need of purchasing a particular thing. Then comes the situational analysis. So what is included in this situational analysis? It is a means to see things as they are. It provides the current status of the practices in use for procurement of materials. So we have to do a situational analysis in a particular school, that what all things are there, what are not there. Then a procurement chart, we have to prepare a procurement chart. That is an important thing. So otherwise, what are the needed things we may not purchase, what are the not needed things we may purchase. So this procurement chart is an important thing in any case. So here, what should be the outcomes of the situational analysis? I have told you that the second step, that is here, first is need assessment, second one situational analysis, third procurement chart. So here in the outcomes of, what are the outcomes of this situational analysis? Here we can see the four things. What are the outcomes of situational analysis? Whether there exists a manual on financial management. We have to think over these issues. Whether there exists a manual on financial management, to what extent the procedures in the manual have been followed. So whether there is a manual, whether the procedures that is recorded in the manual have been following or not, what are the existing practices in the institution with regard to procurement of materials, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of the existing practices. So these four things we have to take into consideration. So on taking into consideration of these four things, that about the existence of a manual and what are the procedures that are included in the manual, what are the existing practices in the school or any educational institution with regard to the procurement of materials, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of the existing practices. So the answers to these queries may be that identification of the present requirements, that may be the first response, that the identification of the present requirements, in what all terms we have to identify the requirements in terms of quantity, quality, approachability, accessibility. Then the likings and dislikings towards existing practices, that the staffs, what are the likings, the dislikings towards the existing practices of the procurement. So whether there should be any change, so whether there should be any new item should be purchased. And the next one, framing certain guidelines for procurement. That is just as it is. Somebody has come, so in order to, they may be friendship, so that we are purchasing, not in that way. Some guidelines are needed for everything. So these are the possible answers for these four questions, queries. That is, whether there exists a manual, to what extent the procedures in the manual have been followed, what are the existing practices in the institution, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the existing practices. So the possible answers we have seen what is there. Then comes, you can see the procurement chart. So here, whenever you purchase anything, procure anything, you have to prepare a procurement chart like name of the institute, the year. So in that table, you can fill the items to be procured, the quantity, the specification for quality, time frame of supply, agencies, mode of operation, action proposed, the activity and the date. The activities may then be consolidated for each month separately. So the monthly, we can prepare this procurement chart. This is an important thing. And then how to conduct the procurement process. That is also an important thing. How we can conduct the procurement process. So for conducting the procurement process, first one, we have the selection of the suppliers. Who would supply? Whether they are concentrating on money matters only, or are they good suppliers, whether they have some new materials, all those things we have to take into consideration. The next one, the placement of orders and monitoring. How we are placing the orders and how we are monitoring whether it has reached or not. Then comes monitoring the procurement process. That also we have to monitor. Then the storage, when the material comes, how do we store it? How do we retrieve it when the need arises? All those things we have to taken into consideration. So these are the procurement process. So then what we are doing in the placement of orders and monitoring. So I have told you that the first one, the selection of suppliers, that is an important thing that we have to do. How do we select the suppliers? So here in the selection of suppliers, careful thoughts needs to be given to the identification of prospective suppliers of goods and services, their capacity, credibility, and past records. These three things we have to take into consideration. The supplier's credibility, their capacity, and past record should be examined, and selection should be made on the basis of a comparative study of the terms and references. The next one, regarding the placement of orders and monitoring, we have to look into these aspects. The first one, the quantity, the specify the terms and conditions, the time frame, up to within what frame they will supply the material. That is an important thing. Or after an academic session, there will not be use. So the time frame is an important thing. Then the plan for utilization of materials is an important thing. Then quantity should match the requirements, because already we have put up the chart for the requirement, whether the quantity is matching with the requirement, the venue and mode of delivery, where they will deliver, what is the mode of delivery, whether it is the courier service or any other things mode of delivery, we have to find out. Then the next one, chalk out detailed plan of the use of the materials, how we are going to use. Then the quality indicators we have to take into account. Checking quantity and quality is also important. Then ensure regular inflow of materials. This is also important, that we have to ensure the regular flow of materials. Then comes the monitoring issue. That is, we have come to the third step, that process, monitoring the procurement process. So here, the procurement process should be monitored effectively. The schedule of supply of material should be as per the time, which could be monitored through personal contact or correspondence as per the schedule. So a system of sample check would need to put to use. So here, the monitoring process is an important thing. And then comes the last one, the storage and retrieval process. So here, what is coming in the storage process is that the storage facilities should be thought of in advance. Advance, we have to thought for the preparation for the storage facilities. Then come the proper maintenance of records should be emphasized. Without records, we should not keep anything, because something missing or something mismanagement will come. So always keep a record. Then the training for the storage keeper, how to store it, how to handle it, how to utilize it, that all things we have to train the storage keeper. Then proper cataloging and classification is needed. Then arrangement for replenish material. What is the non-usable things we have to replenish with the new ones. So these all things we have to take into consideration while we are going for this storage and retrieval process. Then comes the management of human resources. So before going to the management of human resources, let I know how in your institution the procurement process is going on. Any of you? In your institution, how the procurement, how you are purchasing the materials, what are the steps included in that? Any of you? Any of you?
In the storing of the data, of the resources?
Yes. Then?
Okay. Okay, we have
Ah,
each of the department have their stores.
yeah.
So, and depending on the subject,
Yeah.
like the chemistry, they have
Yeah.
their stores in the lab, in the laboratory.
Okay.
So whatever is gotten for the science department, specifically for chemistry, they
Yeah.
keep it in the store and have a
Wow.
record for it.
Oh,
So whenever they use, they keep the record. Whenever anyone is exhausted, then they inform the HOD. Then
yeah.
the HOD informs the academic supervisor, and then
Okay.
they request for more. So other
Oh,
departments do the same thing.
okay. Good. Thank you for your good explanation. Then comes the management of human resources. So we have seen that the human resources, the teachers, they are main resources, the supporting staff are main resources, the learners are main resources, or pupils are the main resources. So we can see that community resources is also coming. So from the community also we are inviting extinguished persons and delivering the classes and everything. So the community resources is also coming into picture. Proper persons best suited for the job should be identified. We have to identify such type of persons. And the next one, the task should be assigned as per the capacity of the individual, not above their capacity, and proper time limits should be specified. Necessary facilities and support should be made available. The periodic reporting of progress must be ensured. That discussions should be held to review the progress, wherein proper specific feedback and guidelines need to be provided. So, the periodic reporting of the progress, that must be ensured, and review the progress. For that, a close discussion should be done. And the next one, that is the points of views of the personnel should be given due consideration. How do we taken into accounts the points of view of the personnel? And then all the persons should be motivated to work hard and up to their capacity. So we have to give to our institution the capacity what we are having. Then the encouragement and reward should be provided on time, that the encouragement and reward can be given. Then warnings, read punishment should be rarely administered and as deterrence only. So the warnings and punishment, not error. This is here, there is a mistake, and punishments only. So it should be administered whenever that is needed. Then the next thing, that is the official in charge, maybe the headmaster or headmistress in the school, they should be easily accessible. Then no action should be taken on hearsay. So whatever something somebody is telling, don't take any action about the that particular individual. The relationship between the head and teachers, teachers and pupils, teachers and community should be maintained in a way that there should be the mutual trust has happened. So this is about the material, the human resources, how we are handling the human resources. Then comes how the what is the role of the head teacher. So the management of the teaching learning materials is also important. Before coming to the head teacher, we have to see how we are managing the teaching learning material. In that case, the key point is the innovativeness among teachers should be encouraged, and there should be the regular sharing of experiences. Already we have seen, in order to bring up the relationships, the sharing of experiences is very much important. Each material should be properly maintained. The teacher should be trained in the proper use of materials and in developing locally specific materials as per the context. Sometimes the ready-made what we purchase, it may not reflect the local needs. So in order to reflect the local needs of the learners, so the materials, such type of materials can be developed within the institution by the learners. By a cooperative effort we can use. And use of audio visual aids and multimedia should be encouraged, and facilities necessary for this can be enhanced. Then comes the role of the school head. What is the role of the school head in the procurement of the resources? So when we look at the role of the school head, what is important is that the head should be a firm believer in the fact that teaching learning resources contribute towards qualitative improvement in learning in the schools. So I earlier also I have specified that nowadays we are giving importance for quantity, but qualitative improvement in learning is needed, and the head teacher should have an optimistic attitude. So some changes, always we can see that based on the policies and the committees and commissions, we can see there are changes in the educational setup. So a positive attitude should be kept and encourage the same among teachers and learners. So the teachers and learners should also develop a favorable attitude. The head has to plan for procuring and maintaining teaching learning resources in great detail with the cooperation of experienced teachers. Then comes the proper material should be identified prior to the procurement. Before purchasing anything, we have to ensure identify the proper materials, keep the morale of the faculty and learners high. So that is an important thing, that keeping the morale of the faculty, the moral aspect of the faculty and the learners at a higher position. And the head has to be a visionary. He should have a visionary thing, that to expect some future advancement. In terms of future advancement, the requirement, the procurement of the material should be done. The head happens to be responsible for overall conduct of activities in the school. The head has to act as a link between the teachers and community. They should act as a link between the teachers and the community. So this is all about the procurement of teaching learning resources. So I hope that all of you might have gone to this identification and selection of resources and the steps that we have to follow in the procurement of resources. Something you want to share about your school situation, or how you would procure and how you are keeping, what are the records in your schools? Can you share, some of you, what are the records that you have in your school? Suleiman, Ibrahim, you are not telling anything, please. Ibrahim, Suleiman, can you tell what are the records that you are keeping in your schools? Or Muniba, can you tell what are the records? Muniba, Sufyan? Muniba?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what are the school records you are keeping in your institution? Records. Yeah.
We have
Okay.
the attendance, the register for attendance of the students.
Yeah.
We also have a class diaries
Then
for keeping the subject being taught by the
yeah.
teachers and the various topics.
Okay, your child is telling the answer, I thought. She is very active. Okay. Come on, Muniba. Then what are the other records? Muniba, you can tell, no problem. Okay, Abdul, can you tell what are the records?
Okay, the records are classified into two.
Yes.
From our side, we have the academic and the non-academic.
Okay.
The academic supervisor monitors the academic records.
Yeah.
And then the other staffs, the non-academic staffs, monitor the non-academic records. The academic records include the attendance, the record of the attendance of the students, the record of the resources, the record of the academic staffs, the record of the academic activities also.
Okay. So you have
So
this
the
log book, visitor book, everything you have in your school, visitor book.
not a single book, but
Okay.
depending on the department, the
Okay.
academic supervisor heads the all academic activities.
Okay.
He keeps the record of the teachers.
Yeah.
Then the teacher keeps the record,
Ah.
but the academic supervisor is aware of
Ah.
those records. If there is update, he will be aware of the update.
Okay.
So he knows about the updates whenever there is going to be an update in the records.
Okay. So
Like
he'll be
the procured materials,
okay.
it's usually with the teacher in charge of depending on the subject, but the
Yeah.
academic supervisor will be aware of the list of the
Okay.
items.
Okay. Good
The
answer.
non-academic,
Ah.
the
Then
non-academic
non-academic.
we
Ah.
yes, for the non-academic we have the student affairs, we
Yeah.
have the guidance and counseling.
Yeah.
So they handle other non-academic like the cleaners, the nannies,
Okay.
the cleaning materials, the
Okay.
electrical fittings, and other maintenance
Okay.
things like that. So they keep the record of those ones.
Okay. Good answer. Kavuki, can you share something from your school side? Kavuki Peter?
Yes, please, ma.
Yeah. What are the records that in your school you are maintaining? Different types of records.
As the way
Yeah.
Sulaiman has said, we do have academic
Yeah.
and non-academic. Then on top of that, we do have records of other items.
Okay.
Like let me say for the computers and what of you.
Okay.
Whatever item is being purchased on the school.
Okay then. Anybody want to add some more? Muniba? Muniba, I thought Muniba's daughter is making and disturbing her. Okay, I hope that today we have covered 2 units of third block. There are 4 units on third block, and this block is maintained. It is specially meant to give the teachers and head teachers training in the maintenance of the records, then how to identify the different resources, how to utilize the different resources, how to keep it safe, that how we can maintain that different resources. I hope that we had completed the 2 units. So we will be going. Jagadamba sir, are you there? Hello, Jagadamba sir. I will just make a call. That after this, where are you going? You have to go to school. It is now what time there? 8:30 or 9 now morning. What is the timing there? Abdul, what is the timing?
In Nigeria, it's 12:11
12:11.
p.m. Yes,
Okay, afternoon now. Okay,
yes,
12:11.
afternoon.
So in your office work only you have to attend the academic counseling.
Okay, what time?
No. Our timing is we are doing evening only. What is the timing for you? Are you attending from your office now academic counseling or at home?
From office.
Office only. Okay. So what is your opinion about the academic counseling? Whether it is
Okay,
okay this one? The
yes, the
time
timing is okay.
okay only.
Just that it's
Ah,
not every time that we opportune to attend throughout,
okay.
but it's still okay. Yes.
Okay. Whether you want only Saturday, Sunday? Saturday, Sunday, are you working?
No, 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 no.
No. So keeping on that day alone, is it good? Saturday,
Yes, it
Sunday.
is very good.
Very good.
It's
Saturday,
very good.
Sunday alone. But
Yes.
we are having some other counseling session also. So we have taken these working days also. So Saturday,
Okay.
Sunday, keeping the academic counseling on Saturday, Sunday, that will be very good. Okay. Now let me
Okay.
see. There is no such activity I am giving you now, that so that we have covered the 2 units. So let I ask that we can wind up this one. How do you feel about this program? Hello, sir. I have completed today's ka. I have completed the session. Now I will just make one query and then we can wind up then. Yeah. Recording you can switch off. Okay. So now about why did you join for this program? Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm the current academic supervisor